Hey hoopers, this is going to be a tutorial for how to butt hoop, which is kind of the most ridiculous thing ever, but really fun. So the key with butt hooping is that you need to make sure that there's like a small enough space for the hoop to go around. So when you're, for example, when you're on body hooping, hooping around your shoulders is a lot different, and the hoop goes a little bit slower than when you hoop on your knees, and it's like kind of like a smaller diameter for the hoop to go around, and so it goes faster. So when you're butt hooping, say you're like bent over like this, there's a huge space between your knees and your torso, and so the hoop is just going to not have that much room to move. So you want to kind of make that space smaller so it's easier for the hoop to go around. So trick number one is to bend over so that your stomach is kind of touching your tops of your thighs. So I'm kind of creating a shelf with my back a little bit. And then second tip would be some people do this and some people don't, but I had a lot of luck when I sort of similar to when you're knee hooping, you have a pusher leg to have like a pusher hip, kind of. So when I'm starting it off, let's say I'll bend over, I have the hoop on my lower back, and I've lifted my right leg. So when I'm going, I kind of tend to use that hip to kind of push a little bit more. So some of you might just be better off like this, but some of you might like the one side as well. Okay, so number 3 would be when you start the hoop, for me it's really similar to vertical shoulder hooping, where you're kind of bouncing like this. So I'm going to be bouncing and trying to keep the hoop from I think the most common problem is that it will either come up too far when you start moving further away from your legs. The hoop gets like this and then just shoots off because it can't keep going around, or it just works its way off and just like slides off of your butt. So you have to kind of get that sweet spot between where there's too much distance and then to where it's like falling off of you. And so you see that I'm not only I'm not just moving my butt, I'm moving kind of like my whole body and bouncing. The other thing to keep in mind too is the size of your hoop, because you don't want it to hit the ground when you're bent over. This is like a 30-inch hoop that I'm using. But if you're taller, you can get away with using a bigger hoop, which is a lot easier in the long run. But until then, you can also practice by like standing on like a chair or like a ledge or couch or something, so that you can use a bigger hoop to get a feel for it and it won't hit the ground. Oops. So to start it, I am just going to take it in my right hand, place it on my lower back, and give it a little push towards the left. And don't get discouraged. For a really long time, I was only able to do like 1 or 2 rotations where the hoop would go flying off. But eventually something will click, and then you'll be able to kind of do it for a little bit longer. So I'll show you guys from the other side. The main thing, I think, is making sure that you bend over enough so there's a smaller space. So I think a lot of people try to just go like this, and then it's not a small enough angle. You really need to be bent all the way over. Okay, those are my tips for butt hooping. I hope you guys enjoy them and have lots of fun doing this totally ridiculous move. Bye, happy hooping!